Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and as you can see, I've got the tie on, and we don't have the basic Top Hollow music going on in the background, the day theme. We've got something special. Now, a lot of you probably don't recognize this music. I don't know how many of you have been around long enough to really recognize this music, but this music is the theme that they had during the first anniversary event. And the reasoning why I'm playing this is because we just got some announcement, some news earlier today, that they're doing the second anniversary. Big shocker there. I mean, we all kind of knew it was around the corner because, well, the dates line up. I mean, if you look at the calendar, you know this was coming up if you know when the game was released. So, and the fact they had a first anniversary last year, they're probably going to have a second anniversary this year. It only makes logical sense. But before we get into that, I want to cover some other news that's kind of been happening. So, they also announced maintenance. Now, I kind of want to cover this first, because honestly, I think this is also kind of important to discuss. Not very many things are changing, but I think there's a little bit of a precedent that's being set here that I'm a bit concerned about. I don't think it's going to have an immediate effect. I don't think it's going to immediately make the game bad in any sense. But it does raise some concerns, and I want to address those. Now, I love the game. I love where it's going. I love what it's been. I'm in love with this game, obviously. I made a YouTube channel around it and become a rather large content creator in terms of, or not large, but I become a content creator in the field. And they basically said they're doing maintenance July 2nd to July 3rd to prep for this event, or that's in my local time. So the night of July 2nd, ending July 3rd morning, to prep for the second anniversary Prelude Event, as well as the second anniversary Fest itself, which are the two events they're doing around this. And one of the things that they're doing is they're balancing it so that increasing XP gain from Pokemon candies from below certain levels. Levels 1 to 25 is now going to 35 XP per candy, and level 25 to 30 is now 30 XP instead of 25. This is probably just more of a catch-up mechanic to help newer players get to a similar spot to where players currently, like late-game players are, or Day 1 players currently are. But they're leaving it the same from level 30 onward. Number of Dream Shards, though, stay the same. So that's the thing. Additionally, Novice Researcher bonus. They're changing it from 10% bonus until they all reach 100% combined, to instead getting a 15% bonus until they all reach 250%. So get a couple more weeks of it, and you get more area bonus per week. Once again, it's kind of a catch-up mechanic. But then, the real thing that I think is this point that I wanted to really discuss, this probably would have kind of gone under the radar for me if it wasn't for this last thing. And they're adding a main skill seed to the General Store's lineup. Well, a limited amount of main skill seeds. We don't know how many it's going to be quite yet. But that means for diamonds. Now, I wanted to mention this and kind of talk about this first before we get into the fun stuff, because I think this is kind of some not so fun stuff, or potentially not so fun stuff. Because realistically, what this could mean is they're making main skill seed. It's more friendly to whales, honestly. It's more friendly to pay-to-win players. Now, that's not necessarily innately a bad thing. The game does need people who are willing to spend money on the game in order for it to be supported and to continue development, so they can continue to release a good product. And given the nature that there's no PvP and it's a single-player experience, the only person that you're harming by purchasing more money or purchasing more in-game valuable things is your own experience by rushing it. Part of the fun of it is by not rushing. The slow grind, I find, is something very valuable in this game and something that's very rewarding. So rushing experiences might actually harm your own feeling towards the game, but because there's no PvP, there's no real advantage over another player, it really is alright that this game has some pay-to-win mechanics. But adding a main skill seed to the General Store concerns me, because it means that now the devs are expecting an average number of main skill seeds, or potentially could be expecting an average number of main skill seeds out there to be higher, which gives them more freedom to release more 16-pip single-stage Pokemon that are skill specialists or something. Pokemon that we need to invest a lot of main skill seeds to bring up in viability. I'm worried that might become a greater trend, so that they can potentially sell more main skill seeds out of the General Store and make more money. Now, once again, that's speculation. That might not be the case, but it's something that I wanted to bring about awareness to. And just mentioning why my concerns are there for it. I don't think that this is innately a bad thing, necessarily, but what it could be a sign of does concern me. But that's really all there is to cover in the maintenance notes. Now, the maintenance notes are usually either completely, like, the most insane notes ever, or super boring, and this time around it's pretty boring. And we always have these 2 lines at the bottom. But anyway, next thing I wanted to discuss was the Prelude Event. Now, the Prelude Event is really interesting because last year they had this very similar thing. In fact, they actually literally, like, almost completely reused the art. It's just, instead of the Kanto starters, they replaced it with the Paldean starters and changed the number 1 to a number 2 and just kind of shift the assets over a little bit. But anyway, they're just giving out 150 bonus sleep points every day. Now, last year, this was just literally that, just 150 bonus sleep points, which we'll always take that, extra sleep points. All in all, this is 1,050 extra sleep points, so that's pretty nice. And it just applies to you if you log in during the distribution period. It's not even like, or that's how it was last year at least. Is this one the same way? Yeah, they're just giving them out. As long as you log in, it doesn't even necessarily require that you sleep. Oh, wait. Okay, this one is... Last year, at least, this reads as it's 150 bonus sleep points every day, which doesn't even mean necessarily it applies to the first sleep session. So, just log in, get your sleep points. But notably, they also added that now the starters that were introduced in last year's anniversary are now boosted during this Prelude event. And then on top of that, they're making dream shards from sleep research be multiplied by 1.5 times. And they're making the cooking pot size be 1.5 times larger. Now, I do really like seeing this because, as opposed to the kind of pay-to-win leaning thing with the main skill seed, this is a bit more free-to-play friendly. This cooking pot expansion really is a budget player's dream because it allows you to make the largest meals without really having to spend a good camp ticket. So, I think this is a good thing to see because it's an event that really everyone can enjoy. And make the biggest meals from. And then Dream Shards from Sleep Research being multiplied by 1.5 is just one extra little added nice bonus. Additionally, Pseudo Balanced Sleep, which wasn't there last year. So this one feels a bit more like an event. It doesn't sound like... I would consider like growth weeks to be non-events, or like... They're just like... They're more like off week plus is kind of what the growth weeks are. I would consider this to be in the realm of like a half event. Kind of like Dream Shard Week, where it's like there are some boosts, but it's not insane. So it is kind of nice. So it's just an added bonus. Really simple, and it's just the Paldean starters that are boosted. So you can kind of see how that's broken down here. If you want a Fuecoco, go to Top Hollow, because it's the only one that's there. But there's multiple spawns at all the other locations as well. So now. That's how last year's first anniversary compared to this year's, or the lead up. But this year, last year they gave us full news for the whole thing. But you'll notice if you look at the dates on these, from the first anniversary lead up, it was 5 days before. So this year, this news was released on the 30th, or at least my local time. That means we can kind of expect it to be on the 5th. Now, if it's to follow the same pattern. Now, I'm not necessarily convinced that... Because, okay, we do have second anniversary news. I should go into that first. But it's just an event announcement. They're not giving more details about it, other than they're introducing Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip. Additionally, if we look at the page last year from the news event, the news page, you can see that on the 9th, it was also when they gave us information about the Paldean starters, saying that they're being introduced after the first anniversary event. They gave us a bunch more information about Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley. So we will probably be expecting whenever they give us more information about the second anniversary, they're going to be giving us this sort of information breakdown as well. So, yeah, we don't really have any more information about these guys, other than we can kind of make a prediction based off of last year, what the event looked like. But it was crazy. There was a lot of information. If you want to, you can go read it yourself. Because it's not guaranteed to look the same. But the one prediction that I can give with this is that it'll be roughly 5 days after we'll get the information. But that's not perfect, because that's a Saturday. Now, I've noticed that with this game, they tend to not release news on the weekends. That's pretty rare. So I'd expect it to sometime be next Monday or Tuesday, probably the 7th or the 8th is when we'll be getting the information about the second anniversary event, and more information about Trico, Mudkip, and Torchic. Now, this is where we get a little speculative. Some people have been trying to predict what could these Pokemon be, what could they do. A lot of people love these Pokemon, and Gen 1 starters are ingredient specialists. Gen 2 starters are berry specialists. The Gen 9 starters are ingredient specialists. The only type of starters we don't have are skills specialists. If I had to make a prediction, it just feels most natural that they'd be skills specialists, just to give us a starter trio that are skills specialists. And additionally, that might also play a little bit into why they're adding a main skill seed to the shop, to already give us another option for feeding these guys seeds to level up their main skill level, so that we can use them right away and have fun with them. Notably, in the base game, some of them, I don't know what they could do. If there are skill specialists, I would expect to either see one of two things. Either we'd expect to see a new main skill for each of them, or if we look at across the main skills, there are a few skills that don't have a 3-stage or 5-pip option for main skill. As of right now, we don't really have a good one for... well, Dream Shard Magnet, for one, is one that we don't have a skill specialist for. That's a 3-stage. We don't have anything for Tasty Chance. And... what's the other one? I remember there was 3 when I was looking through earlier. I'm not sure. But, oh, we don't have anything for skill copy as well. We don't have any ingredient or skill specialist for skill copy. Otherwise, there's potential with more ingredient draw variants. So, Berry Burst as well could take a 3-stage Pokemon, because as of right now, we just have Braviary. So, it'd be nice to get these Pokemon just to have more options that take less seeds. This probably wouldn't lean too much into that, but we'll see. Only time will tell what these Pokemon will look like. But that's all speculative. And more information is due to come in probably like a week. So just give it some more time. We'll figure things out. And then you'll be seeing me again, hopefully with the tie-on, unless it's before the end of this week. In which case, I might be a bit delayed to actually get the real anniversary event news out, because I'll be away on family camp out. But if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Be sure to definitely subscribe when you want more information about the anniversary event strategy. Once we figure out more details about that, I'm likely to make a strategy guide video for the anniversary event. So stick around for that. Huge thank you to all my channel members. It really means a lot to me that you guys want to support the channel in that way. And if you too want to become a channel member, feel free to click the join button down below. I have no paid rewards for members, but the option is there. And as always, I thank you all for watching and hope that you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.